Yo,
Hey,
what's up, man?
hey, nice to see you. How are you doing?
Well, I'm depressed because I'm wearing a jacket and it's June in New Hampshire. So, like, at what point are we gonna have summer here? I mean, for real. But no, all is good, my friend. All is good.
Awesome, awesome. So I turned this meeting from webinar to just a Zoom meeting so I can have my coaching clients ask you questions. And guess what's the most popular question I get from my coaching clients?
What's
How to,
Jimmy's hair morning hair routine?
not exactly, how to generate listings online. That's the
Yes,
most
got it.
popular question. And
Sure, sure.
I wanted to bring you on this call so we can all learn from you and from your knowledge in particularly generating listings.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm happy to share the insight we've learned. And I think maybe before we dive into some questions, maybe it's helpful to give a little bit of context for those of you who don't know who I am and kind of how I got involved with Tom Ferry. So,
Sure.
where we could probably start, Roman, and then when if you got questions lined up, would you just drop in the chat right now? We'll get through as many as we can today. But I've known Tom now for the better part of probably 12 years, and in the last few years, him and I have developed a relationship. We've worked together really closely before launching Listing Leads, and we got together back in 23, and we had this kind of vision where, like, what if we could sort of try to take my marketing ideas, package them with Tom's ability to kind of inspire and hold agents accountable and build a program to help agents become successful. And that was the birth of the 100K and 100-day program, which maybe some of you on the call have participated in. And that program, Roman, was this incredible moment in time where the market was effectively crashing, not from a valuation perspective, but from a transaction perspective. I mean, we went from 6.5 million transactions to just shy of 4.1 million transactions, which is, by the way, for context, that is the greatest decline in transaction volume in the history of real estate by a lot. I mean, even when you compare it to the global financial crisis of 2008, 2007, 2008, 2009. And so we got together, we did the 100K program, and that program was such a success. We saw so many people get results from that program that was really the catalyst for what we have now built called Listing Leads, which is the number one listing attraction system in real estate. And we learned a lot. One of our mutual friends, Julie Woods, she was on a webinar, and the last quarter of 2023, Q4 23, which many of you I'm sure remember was a brutal quarter. She ended up generating around $230,000 in GCI in that one quarter. Now, if you know Julie Woods, she doesn't sell, Roman. She doesn't sell $1 million houses. She's selling, like, below the medium sales price in the US. So she was moving a lot of units to be able to get that level of production. And so that was it. And so I say all of that to say, we have become absolutely obsessed, maniacs on a mission, trying to help agents get listings. And so I'm happy to dive into questions you guys have. And Roman, if you want to kick things off, like around listing attraction, I'm happy to share ideas and strategies and tactics because this is something that we're very passionate about, and we want to make sure you guys are in a position to succeed.
Perfect, perfect. Well, let's get started from what do you find the best lead generation, listing generation tools available right now online?
Well, the best tool is your phone by a mile. Like that, I mean, in terms of technology. I'll tell you what's interesting. Um, One of the things that I think that people don't do enough of that can really help you build a great pipeline is combining email marketing with outbound prospecting. And this is something that people don't do. And it's something that, just by a quick show of hands or in the chat, actually, because I don't see all of you, have you guys read the book, Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents? Anyone here read that book? So if you haven't read that book, we got a few, Michael. Uh, yeah, that's awesome, Lorena. Lorena's reading it right now. So I'm a co-author of that book. Many people don't know that. I'm a co-author of that book. We sold about 250,000 copies of that book. And what we did after we launched that book, I built an 11-person ISA team, and we set 5,000 appointments in 1 year. This is in 23 when the market was really, not so great. what happened was the big learning we had. I mean, we had ISAs, think about it, 11 ISAs dialing for dollars every day. So we could experiment again across everywhere. It wasn't just one market, across every market, luxury, middle America, cities, you name it. The big learning we had was if you wanted to increase your conversion ratio and you wanted to increase the impact you had from your prospecting, you have to warm up your database first. Meaning, if you're calling cold leads, it takes you 7, 10 times the effort to get the same results versus warm leads. And so what we began to do was we began to send an email every day to our clients' databases to identify who's opening up the email, who's clicking, and that became the prospecting list. And by the way, nobody does this, and it blows my mind. And no one does this, it blows my mind. The people you call in your database, think about this sort of like air, land, sea. It's like you want to be able to have build some momentum, get some people to raise their hand first before you do the ground game, before you do the one-to-one stuff. And so my first bit of advice as it relates to tools is you all should be sending more emails. What are the types of emails you could send? You could send like listing related emails, coming soon, open houses, just sold, price reductions, right? Those are the types of emails you can send. I mean, not the generic automated stuff, but you're using some of the templates and listing leads, using some inspiration from your own brand. Like you can start sending more of those emails. Number 2, you should start sending situational emails. Hey, I've got a buyer. Hey, Roman, I know this email is kind of feeling like it's coming out of the blue, but I've got a buyer who's looking for homes in XYZ area. I know you're probably not thinking about selling, but I promised them I would do everything I could to help them find their next home. Can you connect me with someone who is? And what you're doing is you're taking a magic buyer concept and you're applying it via email. You could do the direct response campaigns. Like you guys have heard our friend Jason, who's on Tim Smith's team, just an absolute rock star. You got I want to say somewhere in the ballpark of $21 million in listings from the Name Your Price postcard. And so you can send direct response campaigns like name your price. Hey, I know you're not expecting this email, but I just have to ask a question. If you could sell your house for blank, right? Would you list your home today? Fill in the blank. And just get people engaged in your emails. You can send value-based emails. And I'll recap this in a second. Value-based emails. That's emails like, this just happened in the market. And so let me tell you why it matters. A value-based email would be like, okay, let's say that mortgage applications have increased 23% in the last week. Okay, tell me why I should care as a seller. Tell me why that's going to impact me as a seller. Let's say inventory in your market has gone from, let's say, 3 months to 8 months in the last 6 months. Tell me why I should care. And so that's a value, not so much a pitch, but more of a value-based email. And so you've got these listing alerts. You've got these direct response campaigns. You've got these value-based emails. You've got these situational scripts. These are all emails you should be sending out to your database. And then as people are engaging, you can then turn the corner in your CRM and start texting people who are opening up the email, texting people who are clicking on your links, texting people who are engaging in some form or fashion. Like if you want to get more appointments, it all starts with efficiently creating more conversation. So it's a long way of me answering the question, Roman. Like if I was in your position and I want to sort of dial it up a little bit, I'm combining email marketing and texting, bringing those two worlds together to create some momentum in my business.
That is perfect, Jimmy. I think these are 2 direct ways for reaching out to people. And it's tempting, like you gave us an example, name the price. It's tempting to answer, and then you'll start the conversation. Make total sense. All right. Other than this 2, anything else on your mind that my coaching clients can learn from you?
Yeah, well, this is a great. Let me give you a couple things I want all of you to do that will help you get some appointments now, some like now business. Because I come from there are different flavors of marketers. There are the brand builders, like my dear friend Mark Davidson, who will spend hours explaining to me the importance of logos and colors and palettes and how that impacts someone's feelings. and I say that with love and respect because Mark's an amazing person. That's one flavor. There's the, like, call it, I just want to be your friend marketer. That's people who, like, just give a lot of value and value and value and business will come your way. That's kind of the Zig Ziglar of marketing. I come from the school of David Ogilvy, which is I like to make the cash register ring. So I like marketing that gets results. And that's the type of marketing and they call me a direct response marketer. So I'll give you an example of this. One text message that you could send right now, start some conversations and start actually getting some appointments. It's called the bad timing text. And we coach all of our members of Listing Leads on this concept. And the way it works is this. Hey, Roman, I know this is probably the wrong time, but I've been talking to a lot of buyers who are interested in making a move in the next 90 days. So let me just stop there for a second. There's a concept in prospecting called destroy the objection in the mind of the consumer. And so when I reach out, I'm like, hey, I know you probably will never give up the 3% interest rate, but hey, I know that selling during the summer is probably a bad idea, but I know that you are probably overwhelmed right now and you're concerned about the economy, but. And so you think whatever the objection is in the mind of the consumer that's preventing them from taking that next step, the idea is to address that head on. The second part is using a psychological trigger. Now, that could be scarcity. That could be FOMO. That could be pattern interrupt. That could be, a whole series of different psychological triggers. And by the way, if you want a list, just go to ChatGPT and say, give me the top 25 best psychological triggers in marketing. But some type of psychological trigger. In this case, I'm using the herd mentality, which is I'm saying, hey, a lot of people are doing this, which makes you say, hey, maybe I should consider it, as an example. And then you can end the script with a very simple call to action. In this case, I might ask a question like, hey, Roman, I know this is probably the wrong time, or this is probably the bad time, but I've been talking to a lot of buyers who are interested in making a move. If you were to sell your house today, what would you be looking to get for your price? And I mean, what you're trying to do is make, and this is important, I would write this down, with all your calls to action, is make the first step a small step. Make the first step a small step. So asking a very simple, easy to answer question, whether it's an open-ended question or a closed-ended question, is not as important as it being a small question, right? Like, and my favorite script as a call to action, my buddy, do you guys know Jimmy Burgess by chance? You remember Jimmy? So Jimmy Burgess is this agent out of a dear friend of mine, the most likable Jimmy in real estate. He's out of the 30A in Florida, and he's got that sort of southern 30A kind of twang to his voice, and he has a line, and it's a line that I love so much. I'm going to share with you because I think you can use it when you're talking to your clients. It's a way like, Matt, let's say as an example, you talk to a lot of your clients, but you don't want to be pushy. You don't want to be aggressive. You don't want to come off like with commission breath. So like, how do you soften that question by saying, okay, like, is this person interested in making a move? And so what Jimmy does, he goes, listen, like, Matt, I'll role play with you. He'll be like, listen, Matt, I would be the world's worst realtor if I didn't ask. Would you consider selling your house if you got a great offer? And that's it. And so like that little bit of a preface by saying, listen, I would be the world's worst realtor if I didn't ask. I would be terrible at my job if I didn't ask. And it's like, it's a little bit of jokes, a little bit of humor, right? And the way you deliver it matters. But like, it's such an easy way to prime psychology, right? 101, prime the consumer that, hey, listen, I'm just doing my job, right? I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. And so I think going back to tactics, Roman, the bad timing text, putting that all together again. Hey, Roman, I know this is probably a bad time, but I've been talking to a lot of my buyers who are thinking about making a move. I'd be the world's worst realtor if I didn't ask. Would you consider selling your house if you got a great offer? And they're going to say, well, it's funny you ask. Yeah, I actually would. Great. What's your definition of a great offer? It's like, get to the point, get them to say this. And now you have a number you can start working against. That's number one. In the chat right now, and by the way, I'll get Roman access. If you guys aren't part of Listing Leads, we'll make sure everyone gets access to Listing Leads. You guys can get all free trial. All the scripts are in there. In the chat, let me know, do you have a buyer today who is qualified, who is motivated, but does not have a house that they have found that they love? So they're qualified, meaning they're pre-approved, they're motivated, they're going to open houses, they're looking at Zillow every day, right? But they can't find a house yet. Just let me know in the chat if you have a buyer that fits that criteria. And as the answers are pouring in here, Roman, you can see David, absolutely, right?
Yep.
So a lot of people, so Roman, let me ask you a question. What is your advice? What is your advice if you got, let me ask this differently, Roman.
Mm-hmm.
What do most agents do when they have a qualified and motivated buyer who can't find a house? What do most agents, not great agents, what do most agents do?
Most agents set up a search on MLS and drip on them. Great
Yep.
agents, in my opinion, search for the house.
That's right. And so most agents, and you use that word, which is a swear word of marketing. It's a 4-letter word, drip, right? Like, who wants to be dripped on?
Right.
Like, nobody. And so most agents will like, let me set you up on a search. And then I'm going to like, if Steven's my agent, I'm going to be like, hey, Steven, like, I'm just getting listing alerts. Well, I can get that from Zillow. I can get that from Redfin. I can get that from your IDX. I can get that from everywhere. You have this massive opportunity where you have like this asset. You think about it as a liability. It's an asset. You just have to reposition it. And so the second thing I would be doing now is I would be using the magic buyer letter. Now, I have so many of my clients who are part of Listing Leads who have had success with magic buyer letters that I consider this to be a pillar strategy. What do I mean by that? I mean, this is a strategy you should do every single week. It's high leverage, high output. And the idea is, let's say in Jan's case, Jan's got a buyer. If I was to write Jan's magic buyer letter, I'd say, hi, and I'd address the homeowner. So first thing I would do is I'd say, let me make a list of the homes that are off market that meet my buyer's criteria. So that might be, I'm in Bedford, New Hampshire right now. That might be homes in Bedford, New Hampshire between 900,000 and 1.1 million that are, let's say, built after 1990, that have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and have at least 1 acre of land. So I'm going to make that list, and then I'm either going to use PropStream or I'm going to use my title rep to get a list of all the homes that meet that buyer's criteria. And that might be 2, 3, 4, 500 homes. And then I'm going to write a letter on behalf of my buyer. And the language I'm going to use in this letter is going to be something like this. Hey, Roman, I know that you're not expecting this, but I'm reaching out on the behalf of one of my buyers. They are actively looking for homes in your area that meet A, B, and C. So all the criteria I just gave. I promised them that I would do everything in my power to help them find the right home. I know you're probably not even thinking about selling, but if you're open to the idea of a quick conversation, I would love to chat. Here's my phone number. You send 100 of those, you get 3 to 4 people reaching out, say, yeah, I got your letter. Like, let's talk about my home. Like, do you have a buyer? And you actually do have a buyer for that person. Now, the likelihood of that buyer finding the house, it just depends. We've had plenty of people do some matchmaking, but regardless, you now just picked up a high quality selling opportunity. I mean, this is if you got buyers agents on your team and you're trying to motivate, who are like, I got all these buyers, but they don't have any houses. This is a strategy that needs they need to lock themselves in a room on Monday morning, write 100 buyer letters, print it out, drop it off, and then start following up with a phone call. Hey, Matt, this is Jimmy reaching out with A, B, and C, right? I know you're not expecting this call. I just want to follow up because I sent you a letter in the mail, and I listen, I promised my client I'd do everything I could do to help them find the house. Do you have a chance to review it yet? And they're going to say yes, no, maybe. Okay, great. You're just getting through that brick wall objection. And so the second thing I would do is I would mandate, if I was like the chief executive officer of your organization, I would mandate magic. If you got a 2-person team, 3-person team, I'm mandating 50 to 100 magic buyer letters every single week. And so the last thing I'll say on this, and by the way, anyone have any questions on it, let me know in the chat. But the last thing I'll say on this is like, results come from repetition. So whether it's emailing, texting, calling, mailing, door knocking, farming, videos, content, like results come from repetition. And so your ability to kind of just get in that consistent habit is going to make all the difference. So Matt's asking, are you sending another mailer or are you phone? I'm marrying them, Matt. You know, I'm like, Matt, I'm sending the mailer and then I'm following up with the first phone call. And depending on how many homes I'm reaching out to, I may follow up with a second letter. I generally won't do more than 2 though. And I'll give you a third example. And Shame is asking, hope I pronounced that correctly, Shame. Help me on the chat here with the pronunciation. We do have the letter at Listing Leads, and we'll get you. Shame, I deserve some bonus points for being able to pronounce your name correctly on the first go, just for the record. Thank you. Anyone who knows me knows I'm terrible at that, so I feel like this is like a big win for me today. So the thing I'd say is we have the templates. They're in Listing Leads. We'll get you a free trial. We have a ton of them. Tiffany Vasquez, who's a coaching client as well. Roman, you know Tiffany Vasquez. She sent 100 letters. She got 5 listings from that. Not appointments, 5 listings. I mean, this stuff just works like magic if you are consistent with it. So Michael's asking, do you happen to have data on the best conversion rate between magic buyer letter and a voicemail drops? Yeah, Michael, you know, this is a really good question on conversion data. It would be all anecdotal at this point. No one's done a true like peer-reviewed double-blind study to measure that. What I will say though is there's a principle in marketing called familiarity breeds trust. And so let me give you an example of this. I covered this in a recent, I was on the, Tom and I are on the road, what feels like every week now. We've been like 50 cities in the last 18 months. And one of the things one of the lessons I try to teach the audience and the community when I'm there is the difference between great messaging and bad messaging. And it has almost nothing to do with the words on the page. It has everything to do with the consistency. And so there's a famous story where Lyft and Uber were basically valued the same amount in the private markets before they went public. So Lyft was valued at like 275 million, Uber at like 350 million. This is back in 2013. Since then, Uber has added essentially $177 billion in market cap, whereas Lyft is $173 billion less. Same product, basically same technology, both had brilliant teams, both had access to unlimited capital. One company's worth $178 billion, one company's worth $173 billion less. If you go back and you look at their messaging, what you see Lyft was like, drive less, enjoy it more. Lyft was like, my other car is a fire truck. Lyft was like, you know, if you're looking for a great time, reach out to us. And like all these, like their messaging was all about like a friendly alternative. And like, it's about having fun. Whereas Uber was tap a button, get a ride. Like, we do not want to be your friend. Tap a button, get a ride. Tap a button, get a ride. And I mean, all their marketing, their messaging, the communication strategy was all tap a button, get a ride. So I think what's really important here, Michael, is the distribution channels you use, whether it's texting, emailing, social, right? Letters, calls, voicemail drops. It's don't be Lyft. Don't change that message. Just make sure that you're hitting that person over and over again with the same message through multiple channels. Familiarity breeds trust. Guys, how long has Geico been running that? We all know the Geico ad, right? 15 minutes can save you 15% or less, right? Like, or 50% or more. Like, we all, like, they've been repeating that ad for 22 years. Familiarity breeds trust. And that repetition is a big piece of that. Hopefully that makes sense, Roman.
Yes, it does.
Great question, Michael.
It does. Well, Jimmy, maybe you'll take us to social media world and tell us best practices generating leads, particularly on social media.
Oh man, this is such a, like, well, let me first take a moment to try to convince all of you to get on social media and use it. I was in an event recently, and we gave this whole talk on like what are we learning from what are the best agents doing on social media. And this agent goes up to me and goes, well, I would use social media, but I really don't like it. Right? Like I don't like using social media. And I'm like, why does that matter at all? Like you don't have to like billboards or like emailing. Like, by the way, no one likes email, but yet the reason you should fall in love with it is because it drives revenue for your business. So I was on a call earlier today with Dr. Julie Gerdner, and if you don't know Dr. Julie Gerdner, you should all follow her. Maybe you can find her X handle. She is a performance coach. She's Tom Ferry's performance coach. I first met Julie Gerdner about 2.5 years ago, and she's someone who has helped high agency, high performing executives reach their potential. So if you're familiar with the show Billion, she's kind of the Wendy Rhodes of coaching, right? So she coaches Tom Ferry. That tells you how good she is. And she has this great line where today in the call we're talking, and she goes, one of the things that prevents people from achieving their big goals is the lies that we tell ourselves or the identities that we build. And the example she gave is like, if you tell yourself, and you said this to yourself, I don't like social media, or I don't want to be on camera, and your identity gets wrapped up in that. It now becomes part of your belief system, which now becomes part of your actions, which then drives your outcomes. And I think right now what's important to realize is that, at this stage, you can use social media without ever being on camera. You don't have to be a star. And I'll give you an example of this. Sam Park generates last 12 months, $600,000 in GCI, executing one strategy. And we'll drop a link in the chat. Well, actually, Roman, afterwards, I'll get you a link to the video so you can see this. One strategy. Follow the logic here. He finds a good listing, whether it's his listing or he calls a listing agent and asks for permission, and he does an Instagram reel on that listing. And the Instagram reel does essentially 3 things right. Number one, it has a call to action in the audio, which is the video plays like, hey, drop a comment if you want to get more information about this listing. Number 2, it has a call to action on the text of the reel, so you could hear it, you could see it. And number 3, it has a call to action at the top of the caption. And so he has 3 call to actions on every video. Text this number to get information about this home. He says the audio, visual, and then the caption. The 2 bits of information he never includes in the video, and you guys already know what it is: price and location. So he just runs this machine where he gets a listing. It's either his listing or someone else's listing. He has an Instagram reel. He does it. He's not in the video, guys. He's not in the video. It's just, hey, we got this beautiful new listing, ABC. Like, it's in this area. Here's the features, and he does the reel. And there's an audio over. You can use, if you follow Jason Pantana, you can use tools like 11 Labs. So you don't even have to be the one who's like your voice. It could be your voice cloned by AI. And he goes like, text this to get this in the audio, on the visual, in the caption. He is generating well over 1,000 leads a month with no ad budget from Instagram, just with this campaign. And I'll give you a quick pro tip. Because you're going to get a lot of people who just want the price and want the location and don't want to talk. He uses ManyChat to automate the follow-up. So if he basically will say, like, I'll get 1,000 leads, those 1,000 leads will go into my database. So they'll get my emails. I'll be nurturing them. Right? I'll be following up with them. But who do I call? I call the people who like opt in. Hey, would you like me to call you to give you the details on this home? Just reply yes. And that then percolates those individuals to the top, which allows him to prioritize the best leads. But again, it's opt in, not like, let me try to chase these people down. So I would say I'll get 2 bits of advice. I know before we wrap here, Roman, my 2 bits of advice are: number 1 is to ensure that you are using your listings to generate leads on social media. I mean, whoever was the marketing person that don't promote your listings on social media. Social media is about being social, should be banned from marketing. I mean, forever. Because the best lead generation tactic in social media is listings, bar none. It's what the consumers want. Imagine you had a cupcake shop. Like, do you think the cupcake shop should promote the cupcakes, or do you think they should promote like what their morning routines are to prepare for the bakery, right? Like, they should talk about cupcakes. Like, that's the way that we should think about it. Consumers want to get access to listings. And if you can be the person who's getting them off-market deals, right? Coming soon deals, right? Like deals that are maybe like that are not available to everybody else. Like, I'll give you an example. We had this guy Paul, who got craziest campaign I've seen in a long time. He got like 6,000 leads from one Instagram post. Think about that for a second. And it was a green screen. He made a list of all the pre-foreclosure homes in his area. And and in the video's like, hey, like these green dots you see behind me, these are all the homes that are pre-foreclosure right now. Many of them are going to go into a foreclosure, unfortunately. If you want to get access to this list, just comment below. We'll get you all the details. And listen, 6,000 leads off of that. Now, are those the right type of leads? I don't know. Maybe. I think there are investors who you probably don't want to work with, but then there's probably gonna be a lot of people who are like buyers who are just looking for a good deal. And so you could use some automation tools to kind of filter through that stuff. So I think the number one thing I would say, Roman, before we wrap here is just like using your listings to generate leads is a really smart way to use Instagram. I'm a huge advocate of it. It works. Unfortunately, the biggest mistake I see over and over again, and you guys don't have to admit this in the chat, but if you have a listing, are you giving away the price and location? Right? And I think we're all kind of guilty of that. Like, we want to promote this thing. Let's get out there. And what you're doing is you're missing on like, yeah, that's going to help you promote the listing, but it's not going to help you attract more business. And that's really, really what you want to be thinking about. So hopefully that makes sense, Roman.
Yes, it does. Perfect. Great piece of advice. I think we covered it all. Now it's time for us to go ahead and implement these ideas.
Yes.
I wanna say thank you, Jimmy, for joining us today. Do we have any questions? Any recommendations on automation tools?
Yeah, ManyChat, Shame, would be the tool I would use. ManyChat is a tool to go with for some awesome like social media automation. It's ManyChat. I'll drop in the chat right now for you. ManyChat.com. And real quick, because I know we were asking about scripts, I'll drop a link to listingleads.com/free trial. So if you don't have access to Listing Leads, sign up for the free trial. You're going to get 7 days completely free. Join our private mastermind group. And also we do a live training to kind of get you prepared for this. So you can join the private training as well. And then just make sure that you get in the mastermind group, because we're dropping these ideas every day in the mastermind group. And you're going to be around, we have now 4,000 members of Listing Leads. You'll be around the agents out there who are executing these ideas. Last question from Lorena. Oh yeah. This is Lorena. So Lorena's question, like, hey, what if you don't have a buyer? What can you do? Okay. Without a shadow of a doubt, the thing I want everyone here to be doing as it relates to direct mail is expired marketing. Now, you don't have to be someone who's willing to make 2 hours of phone calls every day. That's not what I'm asking you to do. We put together the 2025 Expire Blueprint. It's been such a rocket ship for our clients. We have in that blueprint, Lorena, we have the entire strategy around Expire marketing that's up to date. We include 7 letters in that campaign. So 7 letters you can send out. So you get a list of expires from Espresso Agent or RedX. And the reason we have 7 letters that go over 60 days is because the median time it takes a seller to hire a new agent is 51 days. And so we have like a campaign every single week kind of going out to that sort of 60-day mark to capture the majority of that business. So I would say check out the Expired Marketing Blueprint. If you don't have a buyer, that's a killer campaign. The other thing is, if you want to get more buyers, we have a whole series on Deal of the Week. Shout out to my guy Sharon from Real, who's been the one who's really popularized this idea. Deal of the Week is a killer way to get a pipeline of high quality, highly motivated buyers for sure. So Deal of the Week and Expire, Lorena, those are the 2 things I would check out. Roman, thanks so much for being a part of this, making this
all
happen.
right.
I know we had a.
All right, Jimmy. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.